clearing, looking for just signal, clearing noise, versus this other way of like collecting matter and telling stories and building. One of them has this quality of emptiness, but also it can be cold. And one has a quality of like creation, but it can also be really staticky and noisy.
Definitely.
Both are good, and then we die. So that's my prompt. Does that stimulate anything for you guys?
We are thinking about like the phases that we go through, I think, in life. Well, I think, my mind is on art right now because of my class. And it's making me think about like, I don't necessarily know what my prompt is as well right now, but we have so much going on. And I have a lot going on, and I think that it's been really hard for me to like drop everything and be in the space of creativity, or not drop everything, but like actually be productive with the static, if that makes sense. And you know, there's just a lot of stress in life right now, like just with everything like college, and I don't know, we're all seniors, so I'm sure you guys get it, but sometimes it's just hard to like I guess lock in on creativity, if that makes
Say it again.
lock in on creativity.
I agree a lot.
Yeah, another art student.
Yeah, another disciple of art. I think definitely trying to find time to be creative, or at least focus on creativity, or like creating. I think when Mr. Word pointed out like the difference between Western art versus Eastern art, where like Western art is very like composition based, and like, oh, everything is like how it's arranged and like the complexity and layers, and then like Eastern art is about like sort of emptiness or stillness, which is like sort of like what you're saying with like reductionism in art, or that. And I think at least when I was been trying to be creative recently, I've been trying to look at how my art is put forward, and sort of like, I don't know, like you're talking about stillness, like sort of the stillness in my art. I don't know.
So both of you are pointing at something here. There's this inherent or sort of natural. First of all, there's a draw in our daily lives that pull us into doing and making, and this is like what I would call gathering matter. You know, sort of gathering matter, and that's one form of creativity. Like that's like literally creation, especially in a Western theist view. This is creation. You know, like this is like behind the idea of God created the universe. It was formed out of the clay. There's this other view, which would be a more reductionist, generally Eastern, but also there's philosophers that were even Christian that had this view too. That it's a, like, we're not born into this world, we're born of this world. So like we're part of that creative matter. And both of you guys are talking about creating, actually just making art.
Yeah.
And like making art, is it like, where do you usually find yourself arriving at like making art? Is it in the static of the day, like after gathering matter, or do you find it in that stillness?
For me, I guess I'm forced to be creative basically just because we have to go to art class, right? I'm dictated by the bell, but it's hard sometimes to get in a good mindset about it instead of, I don't know, like be overly analytical. But I'm curious about what you mean by matter, if that makes sense.
I think that the gathering of matter is the term that I like to use for so as an artist who's now 50 years old, there were a solid 15 years where I made very, very, very little art, but I was absolutely in the gathering mode. There was stories and experiences, and it was a long-term kind of gathering. It's very slow and uncomfortable at times gathering. Like this is the old guy version, right? Like this is not probably not what we're talking about today, but it taught me something about gathering. This is like a gathering of material.
Okay.
I think of gathering matter similarly, like in a cosmic level, like there's this ocean of life. There's this wave that sort of arises. This is like the gathering of that matter, of that ocean into something that now could be called a wave. We can sort of put a box around it and call it a wave, but it's never not ocean, right? So life is gathered into Asa, and life is like Asa-ing.
The wave goes back to the ocean.
Yeah. This is what I mean by gathering matter.
I like that idea. I think that's been my idea about death for a long time. As a very like agnostic / atheist, I grew up in that kind of family, especially with I don't know, some of the program ideas as well have been in, I think, my parents' education of me. Sorry, this is off topic, but like I think that has been interesting about going to Catholic school, is that I don't understand when they talk about why somebody needs God. And I think it's just because I have an idea that where I wasn't raised with a God, so I don't see it as something useful. And then I've been my dad was talking about how since I didn't grow up with this idea of like heaven and like after you die you get to live more, and then he like came to this realization probably that wasn't exactly true, he thinks. So it's been interesting. He was like, oh, you probably have a way better time with like confronting death because you don't really have, I don't know, it's not disappointing, if that makes sense. Okay, sorry. But I think that being creative is easiest for me. Well, it's never easy anymore. I think as a kid it was really easy to be creative because you have less going on and you're collecting matter all the time. And like part of being a kid is like you're exploring the world and experiencing it for the first time. And obviously we all are experiencing still the world for the first time, but it's different because we've learned more and we've experienced things more.
So what's different about making art when you're a little kid than making art now?
Well, you're like basically just your mind hasn't formed as much, so there's not as much restrictions. That's how I think of it.
I think curiosity.
Tell me more about restrictions. I like this.
Well, as you get older, you can sort of understand the way humans have set up like society and cultural constructs and the way that influences our brains, and you can like actually like understand that like this is what I think. When you're younger, you don't know that this is something you think, it just is. So you go to make and you go to create, and you aren't dictated by like these known thoughts. They just like sort of like naturally shift what you make.
Do you mean that you're kind of more unconscious?
Yeah, exactly. You're before symbols, you're more like intuitive. This is a reference to theology class again.
Reference.
Inside
You're
joke.
not like assigning everything, and you're thinking way less like linearly than you would when you're older. And that's the same thing we were talking about, like Western versus Eastern. You're thinking before symbols, you're thinking whatever comes to mind first. Like our teacher was telling us about like the Buddhist way.
The cones, like the stories where it's like it's just have a meaning. Yeah, it's like that art of just being.
It's just like being.
Like being, because it's basically like the premise of the story is not the Buddhist way is to be like random.
Yeah, something just
like,
happens. It's just whatever happens, rather than you thinking about like, oh, what would be the best thing to do right now? And that's sort of what I was meaning, like when you're creative, when you're younger, or even what even like does creative mean?
Yeah.
When you do stuff when you're younger, you don't think about it, and just inherently because you think about it less, it's less influenced by all of your other experiences.
So do you
That
think
makes
that
sense.
do you think that Asa especially like and Amalia, since you guys have been practicing real artists, right? Like making art in a real.
Quinn is an artist as well.
I get that. Quinn's also
You're an artist on the
my
court.
son, and I know. Anyway, so I'm curious about your
Bad artist.
practice of art, and if you here's a question for you: do you think that the practice of art that you've had has evolved into, or out of, or has ever touched on this idea of being spiritual?
Oh. You go first, Amalia.
Like, is making art a spiritual practice for you?
I
Yes.
think art for me, I think it's less spiritual and more therapeutic. I think some people use those terms maybe interchangeably sometimes, but I think for me it's more like I started doing photography because I wasn't good at other like traditional forms of art, at least, and for me to like be able to create a good image or an image that I liked, and then finally to like see like my work as like a series of images, I think that to me was like very important for me to like be creative, because I was like, I thought for a long time like, oh, I can't draw, I can't paint, like none of this, like this doesn't come to me in a way where it's like sparking my creativity, or at least I think I can do all this, but it's just like taking too long. I think my ability to be creative wasn't spiritual, it was more something I needed for me to like be able to grow as a person, at least.
You think you got is interesting then, because like obviously you've gotten like more refined in your skills of photography, but you think you've gotten more creative as well as you've done it for longer.
Yeah,
Isn't that interesting?
I think for sure, because if I look at the pictures of when I first started versus now, a lot of the pictures I take now have more intention behind them, and I think that's what I was lacking at the beginning. I think that's what I see lacking a lot of photographers when they first start, which is the intention. They can take a photo that might resemble like a classic like photographer like Bresson or something, but at the end of the day what they're doing doesn't have the same intention that he had when he was taking those pictures. So I think that over time grows, and I think that definitely grew with me, because I think I was taking pictures and I knew I had some sort of intention behind them, but I didn't have a like something that was guiding me necessarily.
You were pulled somehow, though.
Yes.
What's pulling you there?
Could you give it like a...
Like, what's pulling you? What pulls you into? What pulls you into that? Like, is it? Here's a question for you. Does it pull you? Are you pulled in there by the stillness that you get from the practice? Is there some sort of like clearing energy? Is there some sort of like felt quietness and stillness, like this reductionist thing, or do you think you're pulled in with like the gathering and the creating and making, and there's more and there's noise and static?
I think because photography is a subtractive art rather than an additive art like painting, and I'm like taking a piece of life and capturing it, and then but I'm like choosing what is shown and stuff. I think that for me, I mean, it is sort of gathering in the sense I'll look at all of my work afterwards, and then I'll be like sort of have to analyze it after, which is probably my least favorite part. But
Editing and looking through afterwards. This is not where you find your joy.
I think now, because I'm working on my like portfolio, is the part I'm not liking is trying to associate meaning, because I really like the notion that like my photography is what people interpret from it. So like me having to put meaning onto my photography,
Does it feel like bullshit?
yeah, it feels like I'm just sort of making something up.
Yeah.
Like I know, like I wanted to capture this in life. I wanted to like get these people in it. Like I wanted all of this, but
Like this coffee has hints of like horse hoof in Montana.
yeah, it's like I'm not trying to do any of that. I'm just sort of trying to take a picture of something that might resonate with someone in a way,
Yeah.
but not necessarily be trying to express something explicitly.
Uh-huh.
There's a cool, like, sort of the same spontaneity there.
Yeah, spontaneity. I think that's...
I like that word. It's a fun word.
Amalia comes into AP art class. We have the same period, and our classrooms are connected. So we'll sometimes go in for the photography critiques, and it's really cool. And sometimes you'll come in and help me, because I feel like I'm drowning sometimes in art class, because I guess I have like imposter syndrome. Like I feel like I have like technical skill with art, and what I've been feeling for a long time as I've grown up and gone through different experiences is that I feel like I've lost a lot of the creativity I had as a kid. And I think it also sometimes helps to just like, I'll go into the photography room or I ask Amelia to come over and look at my art, and he'll be like, oh, like, what do you mean? And I'm like, oh, what do you think I mean? So I was just thinking about that because you were talking about interpretation of meaning.
Do you were nodding earlier when I asked if you thought your making art was a spiritual practice?
Yeah, I see. I don't really.
Is making art a spiritual practice for you?
Yes, and I'll tell you why. Art is something fundamentally human, I think, and that's kind of what I'm looking at in my portfolio. We all have this like fundamental desire to create something, and that's been shown since the beginning of humanity. You can look at, you know, cave paintings and stuff, and it's still reflected. And I have this painting that I just did today. It was like of handprints on the wall of like a house. I feel like, you know, like finger painting from kids that I, you know, would babysit or something. So I'm just thinking like, it doesn't matter how you connect to that creative spirit, I guess is what I'm calling it. It's how you, I don't know, like you're a poet, you're a writer, you're an artist, you're very connected with your creative spirit. I see Quinn, he draws, you're a really good storyteller as well, and like that's a creative spirit thing.
Quinn, Quinn is an incredible storyteller.
He really is.
He has a way of telling a story that is, it's special. It really is special. He embodies it, and he's really listening. It's something that I relate to. I mean, he's my kid, but I relate to his listening. I heard you talking about this listening, so I'm kind of curious about this, because when you're taking a photograph, like you are becoming the filter of what makes it to the thing. It's not additive. You're like, here's real life, and I'm going to come in and I'm going to create a very, very, very specific filter, and I'm going to allow through only something. And I'm in charge of what that something is that comes through, right? Like this is a creative force in a different way. It's a little godly though, you know, it's a little like
divine inspiration.
What comes through this filter and is born into this new world called portfolio or called my studio or whatever, like that's up to me, you know? So Quinn, when you're telling a story, you consider this, is there anything about that is a spiritual practice, or maybe in Amalia's terms, like a therapeutic practice?
It's therapeutic in that telling like an interesting story or telling like a continuous story or anything like that, especially like adding on to other people. Like over the weekend, I was hanging out with some people in DC. I was hanging out with Maya Mwala, and we were just like walking along, and she like suddenly like starts talking to me in like a medieval accent for some reason. And then I go back immediately. It's like right away. I'm just like, oh, we're doing this now. This is the thing now.
You gotta continue.
And I feel like that's like really the essence of like telling a story. I don't know if that's true for you with writing. Like, you just like, it's not like I'm not like thinking like, how could I say this in a medieval accent? It's like, no.
It's not a consciousness game.
She goes, oh, dost thou see that dog? And I say, why, yes, sire, of course. Shall I slay it for thee? And then we're, you know, yelling, and there's a bit going on for like 5 minutes, and it's just right away. And I like kind of like that in the context of what we've been talking about, because it's very much the same, like, it's intuitive, it just goes right away, and it's fun because it's built off of like, it's creative in a different way because it's not restricted, since it's not restricted by me having more ideas, and it's not restricted by me having like more like symbols in my life versus like you know, like what we were saying earlier. It's not like as I know more, it's restricting me because I'm thinking about the stuff more. It's as I know more, it's opening more up for me. Because my brain just immediately goes like, oh, I have these 10 options. I have these 10 things I could talk about. I have these 10 options for my story. I have new characters. Now I have these names for these people.
So
and you
under
kinda just go.
under that logic, do you think you'll be a better storyteller in 5 years and 10 years?
Yeah,
and 20 years?
yeah.
Because there's like more material.
Yeah, why do you think they say like, oh, Grandpa sits you down, he tells you the myths, and there's a little meaning there, but there's also his own like personal twist on him because he's 50 fucking years old and he's got 10 times as many like names and little bits in his brain than I do.
This is where like old writers would talk about collecting material. If you go through a time when you're not writing for a number of years or whatever it is, it's like, yeah, you're collecting material. You're still writing.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I was just thinking about. Sorry. Can I go?
Yeah.
Okay. I was just thinking about the collecting material thing, and I keep talking about my AP art thing.
It's prevalent.
I keep drawing these childhood memories that I have, but I do them in I guess I want to represent how a memory feels rather than like a real life version of what it probably looked like, because I'm painting stuff that I can only remember. And there's all this stuff about memory and like, oh, is it just stories you've heard and like what you've created in your head and what your brain has filled in, or is it actually memories? And I think that creates this like whole foggy, dreamy type like situation where I'm just trying to capture emotion and like the nostalgia that comes with, like, I drew, for example, my dad, well, actually I remember this, but I used to go to Straight from New York Pizza and watch them very intently because I was very like mesmerized by them flipping pizza, like doing the tossing it in the air and stuff, and I drew that. And I have also drawn the couch that I did. It was supposed to kind of explore the feeling of like when you're like dozing off in the other room while your family or friends are having like a dinner party or like talking and chatting, and there's like you can feel the light and like warmth of that room, and it's just like, I don't know, I'm trying to convey. And I guess I'm saying I was collecting material since birth.
Since birth.
Since birth.
It's birth.
It's day one.
That was
Day one.
a big yeah.
I think I definitely understand the having to collect material. I think I heard it was a writer who was like talking to like who was it? It wasn't Edgar Allan Poe. It was like a horror writer or whatever, and he was basically
King?
Yeah, Stephen King. He was talking to Stephen King, and he was like, oh, how can I become a better writer? And he's like, just go do more things.
Yeah.
And I think ultimately that will be the limiting factor in my art for now, or at least while I'm younger, is that I haven't done a lot of things. Like, I might have lived 18 years and I've done a lot, sure, but I haven't like
A few of those you weren't really.
I've still been like
If 1,000 older, experienced, like shown on New York galleries, like it wrote songs for famous whatever, 1,000 really successful like older artists in their 60s heard you say that, they'd be like, drop the mic. That's like the wiser shit. That's like what it took me forever to learn. Is like, yeah, give me some more years, man, and we'll have more to pull from.
I think now at least my art will represent me at this time. Maybe something that I'm not seeing now, but I'll realize later.
Yeah.
I think I'll look back on it on like my photography, and I might be like, oh, like maybe I was shooting this spot a lot because it reminded me of this, or I was able, like, it felt more comfortable to shoot here because of this or this or this. And I think at the end of the day, like, the most growth will come from me just like waiting, and while that's like and experiencing, and while that's like, oh, come on, I just gotta wait to become better. Like, it won't just like, I can't just like learn one thing, but like, I mean, that's art, I guess.
It's on silent.
That was a beautiful change. Can we put a pause? Okay, good. I'm gonna put a pause on it because Pete, I'm not sure. I'm gonna check on the pizza timing. We're going to come back in, and I'm going to do a. Oh, this is interesting. I bet it's the. Not the pizza. I'm gonna ask you guys to enter into a little bit of opinion now. So this is like you've shared your experience, and this is like it's kind of rich. And so I'm gonna ask you.
Yes.
I'm gonna ask you to take an opinion.
I gotta
And
be
so that
right.
means to have an opinion on others. Like it doesn't have to be right or wrong. Like we don't have to be arrogant assholes.
I was trying to do that.
Well,
One opinion is obviously going to be correct.
one's gonna be more right than
Oh wait, about
others.
stuff you say or about what they
Now
say?
we get to judge each other.
Now
No,
we're
no,
judging.
I was judging you the whole time, guys. I was trying to respond.
Yeah, but you weren't. But you don't. Well, you weren't saying it.
No,
It's-
I'm
it's
gonna
judgment time.
I was
basic.
trying to, but I was letting Kareem
It's
go
judgment
because
time.
Kareem decides
Good.
to go
That's
after you
judgment.
guys talk, and I was trying to.
That's perfect.
I'll piggyback now.
This is excellent
judge.
and great.
I have
and,
so much things
and
to say.
I think this will be an interesting like, watch for you somewhere down the road. Maybe I think the three of you should get together
I'll
and
probably
like
be upset about how quiet I was.
have some.
You'll be upset if you talk too much. You'll be upset that you talk too much, and you'll be
I
upset that
am
you didn't
upset.
talk
I
enough.
talk way too
No, you'll
long.
be upset about both. So
I never
just
have a-
like don't fucking think about it.
I always like go into random details about what I'm saying.
You'll be
It's
upset
like, why
that you
am I
turned
even
around
talking
too
about
much, and you'll be upset that you didn't turn around
I wonder
enough.
if there's
this? Slap
somebody.
you in the face.
I wonder if there's someone in here that has like a bunch of podcast experience that could maybe answer some
I
of these
filmed
questions.
a podcast yesterday, so
was
maybe I
that?
have experience exactly like Grant, bro.
You're speaking the right amount, and you're doing it well.
Okay.
Okay, I think I just second guessed
It's
myself.
not like disjointed in any way.
Oh,
It's,
shit.
it's thoughtful, it's mindful, and it feels like it's timed appropriately.
Oh, thank you. That actually is very affirming, and I feel way better. See, this is all I needed. I needed somebody
way
else to
more
tell me I was good.
Way more affirming than your asshole boyfriend. All right. So
Oh, perfectionism.
there's a couple of questions that came out of this that I might use as prompts that you guys have already brought to the table, and then I have some additional prompts. But I'm going to get a little bit outside
your
of.
favorite
It's not to say don't speak from your experience, because of course speak from your experience.
Be
But
objective.
we're going to go somewhere else. We're going to say, hey, having the experience you have, like what kind of opinions do you have formed around humanity and stuff? We'll kind of take it a little bit bigger.
Oh my god, I have so many.
Yeah, that's good.
You have so many.
I like an
I have so many
opinionated
ideas
person.
I need to share and that the masses
I
must
need to
know.
talk.
If they don't know,
Does anybody need the bathroom or whatever, or we just kind of we'll go
I'm
one
good.
more?
you need the bathroom?
That'll be fine.
Okay.
I swear.
Ew.
Though,
Mine?
your like whole ass head is over here.
Oh.
Yeah.
You gotta. Now you're gonna be
Fortunately,
speaking with
right-handed,
more
and I'm just, like, conscious
urgency.
of that. I did not take that into consideration.
Then I'm right. I know. I'm trying to like write underneath.
I'm gonna
the
do
thing.
this to be performative.
Could you go around the other side?
Hello?
No. You want to move your mic arm? We can do that.
Yeah, that would be.
It's just
I mean,
off.
this
Base
is
of it.
this is okay.
The
Is it
base.
just totally in my way? I mean,
The
it's okay
base.
with me. I
And the
don't.
problem is that, like, if this is your microphone, your face is over here, dog. It needs to be like this.
You need to be.
So put it in front of you, like how.
I think.
This would be good, right?
That's fine, yeah, but you continue to.
I'm going like this.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll try not to. I can adjust that. I can adjust.
You just
that.
gotta adjust to the other side of
I
your
need
microphone.
to. Yeah, I need to kind of come this way, like a podcast host.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Like a podcast.
I'm just very.
Why don't we
very
pop
bad
into
at
another
podcasts.
session here and see if we can knock out another 15, 20 minutes until the pizza gets here?
Got it.
Okay.
Can I
And-
talk the whole time?
Yeah. Just
No,
go.
I want to talk.
I want
sorry.
to
Are
talk.
you ready? Okay, it's a go. Here's your prompt.
The meaning of life is
Oh god.
to create. We.
That's your meaning of life, to create.
No. I think the meaning of. Are we gonna dive into this? Do we really want to?
Sure.
The meaning of life for me.
Sorry. Yeah, I just realized. I realized that right as you were saying that. Don't do that.
I'm sorry.
Don't touch your mic.
No, I want to touch it like this.
No, you're not allowed.
This is
to.
not
this
allowed
feels
to touch it.
professional.
You're not supposed to
He
touch
said I
it.
could hold.
That's okay.
He said I could touch it. He just said I couldn't hold it.
That's fine.
I feel like he's just gonna start fidgeting
No,
with it at some
nope.
point.
I'm
There's
gonna fidget
no
with my
way you're
arm.
not gonna fidget with it.
Do you have a fidget
No,
spinner?
guys,
I'll snap at him.
believe in me.
Okay.
I believe that you can.
Believe it.
Appropriately
Holy
hold your mic.
reference. You otakus wouldn't get it. Anyways.
Wouldn't you be the
Okay,
otaku?
so here's our prompt. And 3, 2, 1. So here's what I'm interested in from our last session here, our last section. Is making art a spiritual practice? And we still don't have any ideas. Or that's not true. We don't have any ideas. We don't have any opinions We don't have any confirmations. What we have is like
Oh.
some experiences. And so I'm wondering, like, more globally, is making art a spiritual practice? And so
Yes.
that
Sorry.
gets to the heart of some pretty big questions. I think it points at a bunch of stuff about, like, can humans have spiritual experiences? Is spiritual experience real, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I just want to ask the question again: is making art? You guys are all artists. You're all practicing.
Play devil's advocate.
Is making art a spiritual practice?
Can I?
No, never.
Oh my God, shut up. You're wrong.
You're
That's
wrong.
my objective opinion. I think, okay, it depends on if we have spirits or what you mean by spirits.
Maybe there's a better way of asking this.
Very
I want you to
question.
make the case. I want someone to make the case that making art is a spiritual practice. Make the case.
Okay,
Steelman it.
Steelman. And then
I
you're
think
devil's advocate.
what I think about spirit, if we just talk about that, spirit is who we are. Spirit is the whatever energy is, firing the neurons in your brain. It might be, caffeine or something like that. I guess I'm just saying, like, it's our brains and who we are and how our brains fire and then present in our choices and our words and our thoughts. I think that is something to think about. And
Is
I think
spirit personal then? Or impersonal?
it's, what is personal?
Because
can
you're saying
be-
it's the way our brains
I'm
work,
not
so that would
saying
make it
that-
personal.
Ooh.
No, it is personal.
Okay.
Your brain is personal to you.
Okay.
It's unique to you.
I just meant is spirit personal or impersonal?
Spirit.
Do you think it's one or the other, or do you think it's...
What do you mean by impersonal?
Well, that could mean it's in everything all the time. So it would be in
I
our
think
brains, it would be
yes.
bodies as well. Okay.
The energy in the universe manifests, like you said, the wave. The energy in the universe manifests itself into whatever we are, and whatever, like we eat food and it gives us energy, and then we think still, and then we're not dead, and so we think and we make decisions and we talk and we have ideas and we create stuff. I think that's an interesting way that the energy of the universe has entered into our brains and ends up becoming something else. Because especially for like very physical mediums of art, and even photography, additive versus subtractive arts, I think yes.
What is it what aligning with what would make art a spiritual practice? Like what are we aligning with?
Well, that's what,
If is art a spiritual practice, or if art is a spiritual practice for human beings, if making art is a spiritual practice for human beings, what is one aligning with?
one is aligning with
Any of you?
any of you,
Uh,
not me.
if it is a spiritual practice, then it would probably be aligning with the self, which is like sort of a Western idea of the self. But I think, yeah, or at least
Product placement.
something personal to yourself. Maybe not the self. Maybe not like this idea of like, oh, you are something that is like inside of you, but maybe just like your actions, like you're aligning with your actions or something. I don't know, something like that.
I feel like it's aligning with like culture. No matter what form of art, I would say even like digital photography, any sort of photography is as well, because if you look at like any different person, any different photography taken by any different person, it is like so many just different elements that you wouldn't even think about are based on the other people around them and the ways like they've lived.
Well, I would argue that I just thought about the Kamala Harris, like, you are, anyway, never mind. I think I would argue that culture and those around us do make us who we are. I think that that's still personal, and maybe something maybe it isn't personal, because I do think we are shaped basically only by the things and the people around us and the experiences we've lived through, like that is exactly what we are. You would be besides nature, obviously, but that's also shaped by your parents and your genes, and like,
So, like,
this is just
so like you're aligning yourself with your culture rather than like an idea of like the self. You're at like like what you've grown up with, or like sort of what's like foundational to you. Is that what you're aligning yourself with?
no.
Is that what?
I don't know anything other than I get inspired to do something and I follow that, light, little sprite that I'm gonna just, indulge in, and
The spirit.
it's an idea. Yeah, the divine inspiration.
The divine inspiration. All your
they wrote
paintings
the
are
Bible.
divinely
Basically, I'm
inspired.
writing the Bible.
You're writing
and-
you're writing your own you're writing your own Bible. with
Basically,
the,
I'm writing the
I'm
Bible.
writing the gospel of like my life and
the gospel,
Gospel
of
of Alice. Yeah.
Asa. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They don't do their they
You're
don't
gonna
have
love-
last
You're
names.
gonna love and hate
Catholic
that when you
school
hear it
boy,
in
come on,
10 years.
What?
I'll tell you what.
writing the
I'm
gospel
divinely
of-
inspired doing
I'm
the gospel
divinely
of Asa.
inspired to draw.
So I have a question for you.
The
If,
unicorn.
if the seeking of if pulling on the thread is often how it's talked about, like in art, right? They talk about the signal in the noise,
It's
or pulling on the thread.
scratching an itch.
What do you do to clear the noise so that you're pulling on a thread that is the spark? How do you hear the
I don't
spark?
clear the noise. I think what happens is like when I'm inspired by something, it's like I'm not necessarily like I'm not looking for it. I don't get inspired when I'm just like trying to find something to draw.
Okay.
Like I don't do like that's hard for me. And what happens is it's like just like this big old flash in my head of like, oh, this is something I could do.
Mm-hmm.
And then later I usually write it down so I don't forget. I try and explore that idea more through art, through writing, as much as I hate that Mr. LaFi, my art teacher, really wants me to write more, but I just it's like I think the thing that you're thinking about, like clearing the noise, I clear the noise to find it again. I have to like very intently follow that path and think about what exactly I was doing. I have to save that idea so I don't lose it. That I don't, like it comes to me before I clear the noise, and then making it into art is me clearing the noise and really diving into an idea. If that makes sense.
It does.
Do you feel the same way, Amalia?
No.
No?
For
Well,
me,
you're photography.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
We're different art forms. I think for me, I'm like deep in the noise. When there is any noise, I'm like trying to sort of like understand it or like tune it, because I think my photography is inherently like within the noise,
Yeah, I mean,
or it's very like layered, and there's some like complex scenes sometimes, and you're like,
organized chaos.
yeah, it's I guess you could describe it as organized chaos. I think.
That's,
Yeah, I think I'm in the noise, and I have to appreciate the noise and live with the noise. So I'm not really digging through the noise to find something else. It's like
I
I'm
feel like
enjoying the presence of the noise and
you
working with
capture
it.
the noise.
I capture the noise.
Yeah, you get the noise on film.
Yeah, I guess I do.
Yeah.
I guess I do. Yeah, I said I capture the noise sometimes, but then once I do, it just becomes quiet.
It's super interesting to me that you're tuning and trying to understand the noise, and you're but you're still going to be choosing to frame some and not all.
Yes.
So there's some sort of signal. There's some sort of shape or resonance that you're You're creating a boundary somewhere. There's daylight between all that you've experienced in a moment and what you've chosen to frame. Right. There's a line drawn. Right, and you're the one drawing it.
Yeah, I think the tuning is maybe because the noise in this metaphor is like, oh, the noise is blocking you from like what you're looking for. But I think when you're like searching, at least for me, like when you're searching through this metaphorical noise, it's like the noise is like what I'm trying to get, at least. And like if I end up at the point, then I'm there. It's like my brother says, like a blind squirrel will sometimes find a nut.
Is it,
Like,
it's like the fog.
yeah,
I've been thinking about like fog,
fog.
because if you're stumbling through fog, you're just gonna interact with whatever the hell you run into. I've made me think of a D&D game I was playing in, and it was all dark and we didn't have any torches, so we were just going in random directions. And whatever you run into, you're gonna interact with it. So one guy like runs into like a zombie, and then he's like, "What?" So what comes immediately out of that? Then you gotta kill it. And one guy runs into some food. So what comes out of it? You gotta eat it. One guy runs into torches. You gotta get the torches. So maybe that's a weird analogy, but like
No, I understand what you're saying.
you,
but
you come
I-
to the things. You just like come to the things. I
Yeah,
guess.
like
Like they're already there. I mean.
that's why
Like hidden.
That's why I think I said in the last conversation that it's difficult for me to define my art, because if I'm like so much in the noise, sometimes I'm lost in it too, and I'm like, I don't know what meaning there is here, but I know that there is something. So like,
Do you often like feel it even if you can't put words to it?
yes,
I get
very
that
much so, yeah.
as
Is
well.
that a spiritual practice?
I think it becomes a spiritual practice. I don't think while I'm doing photography, I'm like, oh, I'm meditating right now. I think it's more like,
Why does it have to be meditating?
I think meditating is just like the easiest way for me to like contextualize it.
Do you
At least.
meditate?
No, I just don't know how to. I think we've learned about how to meditate, but I'm so like, oh, if I just, am I just supposed to sit here?
Tuning into the noise and listening intently and watching and feeling and determining what feels like it fits and what feels like it doesn't. And I mean, I don't know if there's a better definition of meditation than that.
Then yeah, it's I think after the fact it's meditative. But while I'm doing photography, it's very spontaneous, so it's hard for me to meditate. I think I get into a flow state maybe, which could be meditative in a way, but
I want to do something just a hair different. I want to ask you guys a few questions, and I want you to give me like a, I don't know, a minute or less answer.
3-word answer.
Each,
Oh.
no, not 3 words. I mean, whatever you want.
4 words.
But a minute or
This
less.
is a college
I
art.
will be doing 3-word answers.
Well done.
everyone will be doing
a
minute, but you'll be doing 3 words.
So I'll be doing listening.
An exercise of creativity.
That's great. ASMR.
Sorry.
Just gonna jangle my keys real quick.
The first question I have for each of you, we'll start this one with Asa.
Oh yay!
Start with the
Perfect.
favorite.
What questions
So many.
are arising in your practice of art in the last few months? Like, what are the questions that your art is asking you, or that you're asking your art?
So many questions I have. I am famously the only person in my art class that still has not decided on what I'm supposed to do. I phrased supposed to do. What I want to do. I am a perfectionist, and I will own that. And I know that. And it limits me a lot, and it makes it hard to do art.
Pause. I think that's pizza. Was it rhetorical?
Maybe.
Okay.
Will you ever know?
All right, here we go. Welcome back. This segment is called Then We Die.
Oh,
Then we die, okay?
So we're going to get a little, we'll get a little existential, get a little
delete
nihilist.
podcast name.
So I'm curious if you guys can try to give some sort of a summary-oriented answer to a question like this. Amalia, why don't you go first? Does knowing that you'll die, now that you're old enough to know that,
Shoot.
yeah, you were talking about the culmination and gathering of material and having some years and gathering and stuff. So does knowing that all of that's going to end, that you're going to die, does that make your life heavier, or does that make your life lighter?
I think it makes it heavier in the sense that I'm now searching for something. Not necessarily anything specific, but I think maybe a purpose to fill the time that I do have.
Yeah, and that makes it heavier.
Yeah.
Quinn?
Like makes it heavier because like what the fuck am I gonna do then
With what?
with the limited time?
I freaked out.
Do you
about
feel like
this
a pressure?
I don't know. Maybe. Depends. If you see something, because we have limited time, if I see something that I'm really passionate about, it just makes me think that, oh, like, well, what can I even do?
Is
You know?
Yeah.
But then in other ways, it makes me let go of the things that don't feel like they have significance to like the rest of the world and like the rest of time that has existed without us. So like, what can I even do? There's so much injustice in the world right now, but also like, oh, whatever. I don't got to think about dinosaurs at least. You know,
Why
kind
not?
of nice.
You say facts?
Yeah, I don't have to think about dinosaurs.
Facts.
I have to think about dinosaurs.
Why are you?
And
No.
you read a book.
Asa, do you have to think about dinosaurs? Is the question?
I
I'm
have
just
to think
kidding.
about
The
everything.
question is, if now that you're conscious and old enough to really have this sense of oh yeah, I actually like there's limited time. You know, there's like,
Oh, I've had that for a while though.
yeah. And does that make your life lighter or heavier?
Both. It just makes it more complicated.
Hmm.
I think like Quinn said, sometimes it's really hard because you see something and you're afraid that you don't have enough time, and then sometimes it makes and it makes you value the things that you want to do. I don't see that, oh, I don't have enough time thing often as I shouldn't try to or I can't. Mostly I'm afraid that I'll discover something that I wish. I'm afraid I'll regret things. I don't really get afraid that I'm
Do you get relief from that, knowing that you won't regret it the day after you die? And then like every other day for infinity?
I think I'm starting to build the habit of not regretting things and letting stuff go. I think that that's something I've started to learn more.
Quinn, you talked about dinosaurs and other things like the foreverness that you don't have to worry about. Does that give you
Yeah.
levity? Does that lighten it up?
Because you can't worry about it. Because we're not here for very long. There's not space for that. Which is just kind of nice to like recognize. Because then like you could try to worry about it, but it just kind of doesn't really work.
Wow.
So-
I don't have enough time in the world to worry about all that stuff.
Do you mean worry or do you mean think?
Just think about it.
I think
Like obviously like history and stuff, but you know.
history, the universe, existence, dinosaurs.
I mean,
all
from,
of it
from the
is
day
cool.
from the day I was thinking about why the universe was created, from the day I was born to the day I ended, I'm still gonna have questions when I'm
Why?
100 years old and I die.
Why the universe was created?
Yeah, or like what happened when dinosaurs were around, or why dinosaurs were around, or anything.
I just think it's interesting.
Yeah.
So this gets to this a little bit gets to, this is like life purpose, right? Like it gets to how to fill those years that you are here. What's it mean to live fully for you? Asa, why don't you go first this time?
Live fully.
Mm-hmm.
I think living fully is paying attention. I think showing up and being able to appreciate and pay attention to life and every part of life and appreciate and find something good in every part of life, even if it's just a learning experience or something else. I think my biggest thing about life is that I think it's an insane chance that I was even able to be here, and it's just like such a privilege, and I feel like that is what gives me so much gratitude for my life. And I never feel like I've never really felt like I wanted my life to end, because I'm always going to want to have more of the experience, and it's such a short time, and I'm very grateful for where I am and all the people I've met, and it's just like I can't feel ungrateful in a way that
Gratitude and awe. These are good things to make life feel full. How about you, Quinn?
I think fully living is fully living, and it's being with the stuff that is living and not the stuff that was lived or that will be lived. Like living fully, living, not lived or not will live, living, you know?
so presence.
Yeah. But in like that, like kind of like nice way of saying it, where it's all about living, you know? Because I don't know, that kind of ties into what I was saying about like not worrying about what has been lived, because you can't. We're here for this amount of time, so like naturally so like literally just means we can experience this much. Like it's like the definition of like saying we're here for that. I don't know. I'm basically saying like this is this because it is this, but you know.
Malia, what's a fulfilling life?
I think Asa talked a bit about regret, and then you talked about, in your question, you were saying, what will you do to fill your life? And I think for me, I don't really want to be filling my life with anything specifically. Like, I don't want to see my life as I'm doing this thing, so I'm doing the most with my time and like optimizing it. Because I feel like if I just think, I'm just optimizing my time, then it'll get me into a cycle where I'm just like, if I'm not doing anything, it sort of will feel like I'm failing a purpose in life. But I think different than some people, I don't live with a lot of regret, because I'm really happy to be in the place where I am right now, even though I may have like gone through hardship or like struggled in some way. I think that all of that in some way got me to the place where I am, and I think I'm happy about where the place I am right now. But I think if I like look forward in my life, I can see myself, I'm like, I will have regret on that. But when I look at my time now, I'm like, I don't have regrets. So I think when I'm looking forward, I think I see regret, which is not something I see in the present, which is, I think, interesting to me at least. But for me, living a fulfilling life will be at least just living without regrets, or living in something that's like not like, like no regrets, just like living a life without regret and doing at least what makes me happy. Yes.
Are you guys cool talking about spiritual stuff again?
Sure.
What do you mean by
I figured that
Faith?
would be
Define spiritual.
God?
that would be our.
Do you believe in God?
That would be a good. I think that would be a good like kind of like segment closer for tonight, so you can go and get done and get homework and stuff. I'm curious, when you know, Asa, right at the beginning you said something like, well, why do people need a God? And this is a fantastic question, and I am probably most interested to see if you all are able to, you know, to pose the argument. Like, I'm kind of curious if you could like throw out what's the, you know, what's the pros and cons here? Like, why do people need a God, or why do people not need a God? This is a good, regardless of personal beliefs, and hopefully you have more questions than answers here, but like, that might be a cool way to step into this. Yeah.
Can I make a note about? I think it was one of those questions that I'm asking. I don't understand why somebody needs a God. I'm thinking actually, I can understand. I do understand why people, because some people find it in the same way that I find comfort in people. What are you doing?
Yeah, why are
I'm
you, like,
looking at the
smelling
mic.
your
I'm not
microphone?
smelling it. I'm looking at it. Leave me alone. Keep talking.
Okay, I'm sorry. You're just distracting me.
look-
What was I saying? I can't. Okay.
You said I can understand why people need a God.
I can't understand. Okay. I can't. I don't feel the same way. I think from what I've heard is people say, oh, you know, just from what I like, because we go to Catholic school, we hear the most about Jesus and stuff. Like, oh, let Jesus into your life. Open your heart to Jesus. He'll like take your burdens and you can share your burdens with him. And I think, why do I need to do that? I lived my whole life not by myself. I've lived my whole life with everybody around me. That's my support. And I know for some people don't have support systems like that.
So why do they need a God? Why
because
do some people need a God? And some would say that
because
everybody.
it's useful.
Some would say that
It's a
everybody
toolbox.
needs a
It's
God.
like a journal.
What's that?
It's a journal. It's an instruction manual. It's easier to live life with a guideline. And I think I'm one of the lucky people that I've had a family that makes good guidelines for me, and I'm introspective enough and I think enough to have a guideline that I can also continue to make for myself, if that makes sense. And I know why people need God, because some people need somebody else, and they need somebody to relate
What do you think, Quinn?
more than them.
I don't think I agree with you saying it's a guideline.
The Bible isn't a guideline.
Bible's not a guideline.
Byline. The Bible isn't like a guideline for
Bible is-
Catholics to follow. It's more of like a tool.
It's also not
That's
a
what I'm
God.
saying. I'm saying
It's mythological.
I'm not saying that that's God. I'm saying that
Oh,
that's the
in a
word
sense.
of
Religion.
God.
I think religion. might be the
Religion.
way.
I guess I think of God as a theist God, capital G God. I'm talking about I guess my God is the universe and, chance, the gamble that is me and you and you and you.
Quinn, what do you think? Why do people need a God?
I don't think anybody needs a God.
I don't think
I think they
anyone needs
either.
a name God.
I think they either have an idea or they don't, or they accept an idea. I feel like most people in the world probably have some idea about a God. I feel like most people have it as a combination of their experiences, just like any other thought. But I think some people have learned to use it as a tool for orientation. Hey, look at that. Through culture. And I think some people, I don't know. It's like I think it's actually like more of a personal idea than we think, because no two Catholics have the same experience with whatever Jesus is for them, whatever Jesus is in their life, whatever
So-
Jesus has been.
You just touched on a couple of things. You talked on experience and you talked on culture. So can you imagine a culture in which there wasn't ever a creation of God? Because there has been. Clearly, we've had lots and lots of cultures prior to the ideas of gods. So before we've manifested the concept of God, there were cultures.
Yeah.
Right? And they might have been, you can go back, I mean, if nothing else, you can go back to like,
I mean, then it was just something else
right.
for them.
So can you imagine that culture where there wasn't a concept of God? And was there, a lot of theists would say that there was a need for God and it wasn't there yet, or something like that, or it hadn't been arisen in their hearts or something, or I don't know. I'm not exactly sure. I've asked this question before of people. I don't totally know the answer. Like,
I mean, I
What's the
think
question?
we just probably haven't talked to them about it. To be honest,
what's that?
like they had some idea. I'm sure they had ideas, and I think they were here on the little spectrum, and they needed point to more like devotion and like cultural organization to qualify as a god under our standards. I think they had ideas.
Point two.
And I think if you went and talked to them and told us, yeah, all these people, and they told us all like the things that religious people do and the ways they talk about their God, people, I don't know, 30,000 years ago would be like,
They would find some resonance in that.
yeah,
They would hear something in that and say like, ooh, and that would maybe call them forward.
yeah.
So they were already having an experience.
They had an experience. It's just super subjective, I feel like.
And prior to all of the ideas,
It's because we were like, oh, they didn't have a God because of the position we are in, like the lifetime of humans and in our cultures and in the study of what we think of as God. Go ask the Romans. They probably thought different Johns. Like they probably thought those freaking guys
Can I
had
say
gods. They
something?
probably think we're like, what the hell are they doing? Like maybe they wouldn't qualify people nowadays as like being godly. They would think we like need to go back to the old ways.
so even the word God is something that's just like part of a current sort of.
I'm sure, yeah.
It's like a current mapping of these senses or
Yeah.
beliefs or ideas,
Can-
or I don't know. Are they
It's
beliefs?
just
Are they
ultimately,
feelings?
it's ultimately nothing. It's ultimately just like something we've. It's just like, whatever. It's like fluff.
Is it feelings, concepts, beliefs, ideas?
It's all. It's like a categorization. It's like it's like a way we've organized our experience, and they probably organized their experience somehow. They had to have it organized their experience. That's like how you do consciousness. So it was probably just way different than how we do it.
Okay. God is probably a similar expression. I think the idea of God is just very well thought of right now, just because we've had a lot of time to write it down and talk about it, and everybody's talked about it, and like everyone has talked about it, probably. Like, I don't know, God is such a well-developed idea right now. I think it probably came from a need that was not being, like a checkbox that wasn't being checked off. Like some need of a human being manifested, or some need of a culture manifested into this idea of God and religion and its social order, its faith, its values, its a way to understand why things happen the way they do, the Odysseys and all this stuff. Like, I think it's not necessarily the idea that like God, I think God is the same thing. It comes from the same thing for every idea of God. I think every idea of God is representative of some, or came from the same need of humans to box and name and categorize things and explain, because we're very curious, and we like relation things. We like to relate to things, and I think also because
So let's pose a case then. So early humans,
yes,
prior to the ability, we can. There's some day that happened. There's some line in the sand where humanity, more than one sort of modern hominid, was able to exchange ideas about any of these concepts that didn't have the words for at the time, but like we'll put these, we'll call them orientation, or directing their hope, or their like a reason for directing their will. Like, I mean, really prior state. So what about the day before? The day before that, and every other day prior, was there a box that wasn't checked? Like, what about the day before the box wasn't checked, is what I'm saying. Before that, like one day a box shows up and there's a check box, and someday there's a box checked. Jethro Tull famously said on the seventh day man created God in his own image.
But the checkbox isn't even a thing that exists. We haven't even come up with the idea of the checkbox until long after the whole God thing has been in existence.
So that's my question, is prior to there being a human need being met by, I think there's something.
There was no checkbox prior.
the checkbox is.
There can't have
It's
been a
like what
checkbox.
came first, chicken or
Very
egg? Like
What?
Is it?
That's
it
getting into the
evolved
semantics.
into an idea. Like, okay, what do we need? Let's see. What is God satisfying about the human needs? I think God satisfies comfort. We want comfort. We want safety. We want explanation. We don't understand things and how they work. Especially back then, we didn't understand how the seasons worked. Sorry, I don't know. I think it came from this idea and our big brains, like just basically churning out this idea that we are valuable in our ability to think. And I think that also is why we ended up with this idea that God is, we, especially in Christianity, God is created us in image of him. And why isn't it a cow? Why isn't it
So interestingly,
plant.
it grew in a different way in different
Okay.
parts of the world, right? So
Well, obviously.
like in our theist and Western way, it grew as that which is like more like the Father, so like separate, and that we are born into this world, right? Like Alan Watts has like made this case really well. Like I think he spoke about this probably more eloquently than anybody, certainly a lot more so than me, which is like in the West we are born into the world, right? We're born from somewhere and born into the world. So we arrive somewhere that was created, that had a creator, and that we arrive here. And in an older Eastern view, we are born of the world. It's very different. We're grown, right?
That's-
Like the apple tree apples, like the world peoples, and we're grown up at like the ocean waves and the ocean torrents and the ocean calms and
that
the
makes
ocean
more sense to me.
hurricanes. It does all these different things, right? Like it gazelles and it amalios and it mountains and it
That
whatever.
makes a lot more sense than any other idea.
So this is kind of the famous born into or born of the world argument. That this is like Alan Watts in the 60s and 70s, I think. So prior to
Prior to the world godding.
oh, interesting. Tell me more about that.
Is that what you mean?
Tell me more about that. Prior to the
You
world.
you tell me
It
more
makes
about
no
that.
sense. Okay, here's what I'm gonna say. It makes no sense to me that it would be singularly centered on planet Earth. That's something. We didn't know that there were other planets before then.
World Marses.
I think God is born out of a lack of knowledge in the past, and it has been developed with lack of knowledge, and at some point it reached the point where we ignore knowledge. And I think that my idea of God, I embrace knowledge I have. I know the universe exists. Maybe. Actually, I don't know that. I have faith that the universe exists. I have faith that I'm doing something, and I have faith that I'm alive. Like, I don't know. People always talk about, oh, are we in a simulation? Sorry, that's another topic.
Mr. Ward.
I trust. I guess I'm saying the checkbox for God can be checked off with just a regular faith with
So
the
you're
universe.
saying there was indeed a time when there wasn't a checkbox to be checked.
I'm saying that the checkbox got smaller and smaller as we knew more.
When did the checkbox get created? Like when was there, or was there not? Amalia, take it. Was there a time when we didn't have a checkbox?
Checkbox.
I think
Checkbox is a stupid idea. It's a stupid idea.
Well, you posed it as, let's define it. So you posed the checkbox as like humans have a need, and this need needs to be filled, and it's some combination of various human needs. And that by the way, that is very, very, very that's a strong, fertile, like this is a strong, well-formed, concrete foundation on which to build an argument. This is very clearly, it's very well proven that humans function from a space of like needs met and needs unmet. So this is a great place to start your argument. Like on this we will build from there. And so where you're starting is there was a need, clearly, because we filled it with the idea of God. Now this is a non-religious view. A religious view would say, like, no, no, no. The need that was there first had nothing to do with you. First there was God. God created you with inside it a need for it or him or whatever, right? And that's a very theist view. What you're offering is something different. That humans have these needs, and that some conglomeration of them creates a little space. And the way to fill that space, one way to fill that space, is to like go, oh, God, and check the box and say, now there's God. And that's when, I think, as Quinn put it, like the world started godding. It wasn't even the world so much, was it? It's like our civilization.
People started godding.
Yeah.
Or maybe
They
have a
do.
different
Maybe they do.
I don't
relationship
know.
there.
Maybe they're.
Maybe they do.
Yeah. Amalia, did you?
I think you're talking sort of about religion as a functional, like the function of religion, or like a functionalist approach to religion. I think I've been actually trying to figure this out a lot recently because
Figure out good luck, buddy.
because or at least to see what people perceive the function of religion currently, because I'm writing a paper on it for theology, and a lot of what came up.
Can I ask what's the thesis of the paper, just so we know where you're coming from?
The thesis is just how what do people perceive the function of religion is today, and like what can we understand from that, sort of.
Okay.
And so far I've interviewed a couple people, and from what I've gathered, currently at least, the people see the function of religion sort of more as a social thing or as a tool of orientation. I think a lot of people.
You think it's different than it used to be?
I think what aspects of what Asa was saying is true, that people did use religion. They used to use religion as a way to sort of understand the world, or like use these mythologies to understand like what was happening around them. But I don't believe that those mythologies were necessarily their like true beliefs on like what a god was. I think more what like religion is belief, which is like a hard thing to describe. I think
Faith.
Faith, yeah. Like all religions will have some sort of like you just don't know. It's like it's what's been dealt to us, basically.
It's the sacred wall, right?
Yeah, the sacred wall. Like there's like understanding that we do not know, that cannot be revealed to us, or will not be revealed to us. Or if it is revealed to us, it'll be revealed in some like grandiose or even like very simple way that like might be overlooked. But I think religion, or at least God, is as a function something for us to try to connect. Maybe connect with God, or like some being, or like connect with each other. Like the function, I think what a lot of people said was like, oh, they go to church. When they're at church, they're like talking with other people. They go to seminary,
community.
where they can like, where they're like studying the Book of Mormon. Or if they're like agnostic, their spirituality will like connect them with the world around them, or like ground themselves.
Sure.
So I think connection is one of the major functions of religion today.
Was there something prior to the functions? Is there something there prior to the functions?
I think religion, or anything that we do, will have a function. So I think that
So this goes back to checking the box too. This goes
Yeah.
back to like meeting needs. Like there's a function to meet some sort of need, and that was
yeah.
born somewhere. So the day before, those needs were a set of needs, when those needs were not yet needs, right? So one person doesn't have a community, so that community doesn't have any like relationship issues, right? Two people or three people get together, and now that community has a new need. There's a relationship challenge. There's communication needs. There's things like that arise out of just simply being a body of three. So at some point, there was not a need there was not some conglomeration of needs for checking the God box.
Yeah, I think if we want to look at sort of a Catholic example, because that's where most of my knowledge lies. Like if we look at sort of like Adam and Eve or something, like before when they were created, and then when they were in the Garden of Eden, they like basically they had no function. They didn't really have any function to do anything. They had like a perfect life, a perfect existence. And then when they gained the knowledge from like eating from the tree, that is when they sort of needed God as a function to be like, help me. Like I need like something. So like the before time is for me maybe, or I think understanding it is maybe the before time is like when we actually had time to think. Because I think so much of our time, at least developing as a civilization, is probably spent on survival. And then when we finally had maybe like a breath, we're like, okay.
When did we get that breath?
Free time. Free time
When
is
we got free time, when we got,
people are able to be creative.
yeah, when we were able to just like sit in the field and just
Well,
like
free
lay
time
down.
is just like a cultural concept. So I wonder
Free
when that happened.
Okay.
Fire probably created that, right?
Yeah. When we're just all chilling around the fire with a fresh line.
Well, when you have fire,
Carcass.
you have light later, and you're safer.
As soon
and
as you have
No, they definitely had free time.
things that you don't understand
Just like chilling in the valley.
and free time to
I think
think about
free time came about when humans started becoming, when humans came together.
Yeah, when they made,
I don't think you have free
awesome
time when you're by yourself.
civilizations.
Because free time is ultimately like comparative. Like I'm doing something he's not. Versus by yourself, you're always doing something because there's nobody to say like they're doing less or they're doing more.
it. That's a good point.
Okay.
Well, what is it about less or more?
Well, if I'm by myself all the time, nobody else around me, it's all free time or it's all busy time. There's no concept of doing stuff or not doing stuff or when I should be or worse.
When I say free time, and I'm assuming, well, I think I'm talking from the point of like when we weren't busy doing something, hunting, taking
Yeah.
care of something. I think that's
But do you think you could really?
but do we just have free time all the time? Like I'm thinking also like we think during stuff all the time. I think about everything while I'm doing math.
Yeah,
feel
but
like
while
you're
you're
not
picking the
like a
berries,
hunter-gatherer in like
While
4,000
yeah,
BCE. Like
Exactly. So that's
Like
why I
trying
think
to
that's why I
survive.
think it's comparative.
we're putting our thoughts on what society is or like how we think.
We're doing this in our free time.
Yeah. This is our free time.
okay.
Good for.
It's definitely not.
I think God,
free with the
the
homework,
idea of
but,
like
you know.
worship and just, putting something up there above yourself came
Worship
from,
Worship.
like think about this, like the Venus statues that they found all over the place. Of course, that makes sense. Being able to build and birth a human is kind of maybe cool. And I think that's something that people would value back when having more people is probably a good thing. And I think that's an example of like
And
what
utterly,
we wanted to
utterly
explain something.
inexplicable and magical to at least half the population.
I think honestly, God is just like it's just a way that we appreciate and show, and I guess like make an amalgamation of like our awe, I guess, and like wonder with the world, and like, oh, this is just like really cool, this thing that happened. And I think, capital G God is like, oh, it's really cool that we're alive. It's really cool that this whole planet exists. I don't know if I'm making sense at all.
Did you ever have a time in your life where you thought you believed in God? And why? Why would you have thought that if you did?
No, I've never had a time in my life because I don't like God, like Catholic God.
No, just any God. Anything
God.
you felt like any presence where you're like, I might not be alone right now. Or like
That's different.
I don't think I've ever alone.
that's what a lot of people describe the experience
Okay,
of God being.
here's what I'm
about.
gonna say. I was talking about
Feels more
the energy of the
capital G God
universe.
than lower.
The energy of the universe is what I think about as like what I have faith in. You know what I mean? Like
Is that energy something that you could
okay, when I took physics in sophomore year, that was the most spiritual I've ever been in my entire life because I was like, how the heck does this all, like, this is just crazy that this all works the same way. And like, if gravity was off even a little bit,
Maybe then
everything would fly off into space and everything was just like, it's just
Like
crazy.
a rounding error on a rounding error, and the whole thing is just like
It's
not
just,
here. Yeah.
it's, I don't know.
Yeah.
And it works and it works and it works and it works and it keeps working. All of science. Science makes me want to believe in God because, contrary to,
It'd make it easier to.
it makes it,
It works because it is.
maybe I'm just too lazy to do the math about science and stuff, but like, I don't know. I guess
Do you think that there's a lot of kids in your generation? Do you think there's a lot of kids in your generation that have similar ideas about God that are more, like there's lots of space between these three letters and none of them are capitalized and it's all, this energy of the universe concept.
probably.
I think a lot of people are very pessimistic. So they if they do believe in a God, it's like theodicy. Like, oh, why do we suffer if there's a God? I think a lot of people like don't want to believe that there is a God, or if they do believe in an energy, they're like, oh, why is this energy so negative? Because I think a lot, like with social
It's
media,
pretty
right?
hard to fucking reconcile right now.
Yeah, it's with like
ever.
with like something amplifying, like your phone or like the news or like just existing amplifying like all the bad things that's happening currently. And right now it's like so accessible, people don't want to believe that there necessarily is a God. And I think that the people that do believe that there is a God are more like, I need like feel like an obligation to like continue believing, so that not necessarily an obligation, but feel a need to continue believing so that either what they're doing like through prayer might help influence other people, or like it will help themselves like reconcile all the pain that is happening.
I feel like it's what they're used to and what they know. And sure, it could be also what they believe.
I mean, I know like
I
I have a friend who's like didn't grow up religious at all and then became Christian. But he didn't grow up in an environment necessarily where he was like told, hey, like you should believe in God. This is why you should believe in God. But then he sort of came into believing God through his own journey. So I don't think it's necessarily the environment that you're brought up in. I think that's a major contributing factor. But I think that if you do believe that there is something, that it will come to you eventually.
I agree. I guess I'm speaking to generally most of the time about like it's definitely just how you're raised. It's definitely just everything.
I know two guys that are born again, three that are born again Christians in their modern life as like 40 something years old or 30 something years old guys that it's totally confounding to me. Like I can't reconcile it. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. And when we talk, my case is always like, that looks good, that sounds good, that good, right? Let's keep going. And they're like, no. Then we stop at Jesus. And that's always like, I'm like, oh, why do we do that? And they're like, because that's where we stop. And I'm like, okay, lost me at stop at Jesus, But they talk about this experience of like finding what they believe to be true and only in one God. They talk about this experience as purely experiential, no intellectual. Like there's no intellectual need, and any intellectual study they do is they understand it to be kind of fun, but only as it feeds their experience. It's a 100% experiential game. It's like, because it works, because this is what happened, not because like I think so, not because of whatever. And of course, there's a lot of Christians that debate and that kind of thing. But I find that pretty interesting. That's if I were to be drawn totally by experience, it begs the question, like, well, what was it like to have that experience prior to a Bible? What was it like to have that experience prior to humanity creating a God and things like that? I don't know. You're speaking to the experience thing. Yeah. Okay. Does anybody have any last minute? Anybody have any questions or thoughts that they want to bring to the table?
I think that,
and I think we're going to kind of fade in and we're going to kind of fade out, and then I'm going to look at it later and we're going to determine what we got here.
I think I like that you said, I think I like what you said because I agree, and I like how, or I don't know if I like, but I think it's interesting, and I think it's cool to think about how often God becomes a part of the idea of God is a part of religion, which is then which is like the only experience I've ever had with it is it being constructed to limit thinking and to make us have to avoid more thinking, because like maybe that's the need there. Like it always feels like I think that's really interesting because I've experienced it as like it's like a tool. It's like checking the box for like
Control.
comfort and control. And to me, it is doing that because it's saying, well, we don't need to think more about this, and the thinking more about this is the thing that could be out of our control.
That's what
Like a Marxist, you're like saying that religion is used as a function to control society or like keep down the middle class.
Totally.
Marxism reference
Absolutely.
noted.
Heck yeah.
We're playing podcast bingo.
Let's get
Marxism.
let's get a tally on here.
Jesus.
Someone pull up the bingo board.
What was that?
We gotta pull up the bingo board and see how
Yeah.
many we got down.
Podcast bingo.
What else
Marxism
do
is
we
the,
have to
the
do?
free square.
Abortion.
HelloFresh sponsor.
Women suck.
Blue ribbon.
Reductionism. Marxism.
Can we get
There
that
we go.
bleeped?
Check.
None of them paid for that.
I find
Cultural appropriation.
certainty to be the addiction underneath all other addictions.
This
I like that. Hey, that's
certainty. This has just been my
Control?
experience
Interesting.
as an addict.
Comfort, certainty.
Yeah,
We don't like being out
of control.
we don't like not knowing
Yeah.
stuff.
I love not knowing stuff.
This is why people have been trying to figure out stuff forever.
That's why I like not knowing stuff, because then I get to go figure something else out.
Mario,
Totally.
you don't know the most stuff.
I don't. Hey, I
That's
don't.
why you're the coolest
I
one
can
here.
admit that. I don't.
You know what?
I don't know the most stuff here.
I think
That is
Kareem.
the
I think
perfect
probably Grim
last
knows the most stuff.
Moment.
This is actually
we're just
this
right
is
now.
actually a competition.
I'm just a good closer.